My name is Danny Bernstein. I know we have a bunch of first-time folks here, which is amazing. And so maybe you can just raise your hand if you're here for the very first time. That's a lot. That's a lot. So essentially, it's kind of a cold start for a lot of folks in the sense that, like, we've been doing this since August of last year, and there is a certain familiarity. But today, it legitimately does feel different because we have so many people who are here for the first time. So I think what I'll do is just take a few minutes to kind of introduce what this is, why we're doing it, a little bit of a reset on that, just a few minutes, and then you can kind of get a sense of what this is. So basically, a few of us, about a year ago now, started to talk about this kind of idea of, like, what if we had a way to better create tethering between in our creative community. And so it was, there was lots of things here. There's obviously a really significant creative population and creative heritage, but there wasn't at least something like this. And we felt like there could be more. There were other meetups. Carolyn has a great meetup, for example, that she runs, and there's the Pearl Works that gets people together. But we felt like there was an opportunity to do more, and so we came across this organization called Creative Mornings, which has actually been around for 15 years and does things like this all over the world every month. And I actually just met someone last week who used to go to Creative Mornings in Baltimore, for example. And when she was living there, it was sort of her core community. And this person actually lives in the Central Valley, but she was saying, like, oh my gosh, like, I wish we had that here. And I was like, here's how you do it. You can start it, blah, blah, blah. And so we've been doing this since August, and we have a different speaker every month. And it's worked pretty well. This is actually, it feels like one of our smaller ones, I think, because a lot of people are on spring break in our school system, but it's also a really nice and intimate crowd at the same time. We've had over 100 people, and today we have about 50, which is amazing. So it's gone pretty well. So that's kind of it. That's the goal, basically. And the format around the world is the same in the sense that they're meeting in the morning. They're typically meeting on Fridays. We have a couple of rules. It has to be free. We have to provide coffee and breakfast. Thank you to Gary today who picked up the breakfast. And then we have to, speakers should be from the community. They should be local. So we're not supposed to ship people in from other cities. Occasionally you can have a visiting person, which I actually thought that was going to be more of a thing in our region because of how much people do come here. But we really just call it sourced locally, which has been really nice. And then as a result, you have a lot of speakers who actually just come back and participate, and or people who have held this microphone, like Michelle or Sean and things like that, which has been really fun. So it's become increasingly regenerative and increasingly kind of cyclical, which has been really, really wonderful. And so just a little bit about me. I'm a California kid. We moved here now a couple of years ago, just to after 20 years in Silicon Valley and San Francisco, really looking for something different, looking for open space, looking for a different pace. And it's been really wonderful to meet so many people through this community. One of the people I met is a woman named Cassie Myers. And something we've begun to do is rotate voices here. And so we've had different people kind of shepherd through the conversation. And this is a really special one, I'll just say, for me, because our primary speaker is someone who I've been wanting to speak for a very long time, and that's Maria. And we're also so happy to have Emmeline here. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Cassie to introduce herself and to run our program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Danny. Yeah, please do. Much needed. Thank you so much again for coming here. It really means so much to me and everyone who's putting on this production. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. My name is Cassie Myers. I'm a freelance photographer. I document stories of embodiment within nature and ourselves. I also create art that's intended to harmonize your headspace. I also, if you happen to know Zach Weston with the Weston Collective, I'm also a photography instructor. So, oh, and of course, Creative Mornings hype woman, aka newsletter writer. Yeah, thank you. Hey! That's what's up. You can follow me along on my Instagram, but today's really not about me. If anything, I want to start with our partners. Our partners are amazing. So I want to call out Hawk Tower. Danny Bernstein himself is the managing general partner of this amazing venture capital firm. Also, the Pearl Works is Alora. Yeah, what's up? Thank you for representing. Oh, wow. Man, thanks for the invite. The ProWorks is an amazing co-working space. House of Eight Media puts on these lovely productions. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So every week, when you've been getting the newsletters for the people who have been coming before, they're responsible for the replays. When you go on our Instagram, all those videos that you see that Jillian does an amazing job posting, that's all from Mike. So thank you so much. And then, of course, where are we at? Wave Street. Thank you so much, Rhett and Judy, for letting us be in this space every month. It means so much. Yeah. Yeah, truly. Well, let me first ask, by a raise of hands, who knows what a love language is? Just real quick. Oh, yeah, I love that. Hands raised if one of your love languages happens to be gift giving. Yeah, that's what's up. Okay, well, sorry that was so transparent, but truly, we would love to bring you into our sponsorship circle. We have a few, asks of what would be most helpful for us. So we're asking that any sort of sponsorship starts at $250. This is going to help us cover the cost of running things. So it can be anything from breakfast, like Gary, thank you so much, to production things, to any other part of running this each month. Feel free to come up and ask me, ask Danny, how you can be a sponsor. Figured I should mention, this is not channeled for profit, so truly a love language. All right. I am so excited about the speakers this month. I won't prime anything besides saying this woman is absolutely amazing. She is endlessly inspiring. Her name is Emmeline, and I'm going to hand this off to her as our opening speaker.
Yes. Okay. I've never worn a mic, so bear with me. Thank you, Cassie and Danny, for welcoming me and asking me to open for my good friend and studio mate, Maria. I'm so excited to be here, and okay, I gotta be careful. Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Emmeline, and I have a company called Valley Botanicals. I make skincare products, candles, and natural dyes here on the Monterey Peninsula. I'm actually originally from New York, so I'm an East Coast native, but I've been over in California now for 10 years, and I love living here, and I'm always inspired by just all the native plants, and I love to be outdoors, so that's a big part of my brand. Just a little background about me and why I started my company. During my teenage years and up into my early 20s, my skincare journey wasn't always a positive one. I dealt with cystic acne, which made my skin very sensitive, and I tried many unnatural products recommended by my dermatologist, such as antibiotic creams and even oral antibiotic medication, which temporarily would clear up my skin, but ended up making my skin more sensitive, and it wouldn't necessarily heal my skin. I felt very insecure about this and frustrated that I couldn't find products that weren't made of chemicals. Trying to seek out natural plant-based products to heal my own skin was what led me into reading more about herbalism and medicinal plants. After moving to the East Coast to California 10 years ago, I became intrigued with the native plants and ocean life that this area has to offer. My love for being in the outdoors and hiking also influenced my curiosity for learning more about plants and gardening. One of the first plants that I grew from seed after moving to California was calendula. I put together a couple slides about some of the plants that I use in my products, and this kind of ties into the theme of spicy for this month's Creative Mornings. Calendula was actually one of the first plants that I grew, and it is the flower logo of Valley Botanicals, so I have a really strong connection to this plant. It's in so many of the products that I make. It's very healing, soothing. It's great for children and adults. It also has a really bitter taste to it if you've ever actually tried it. You can garnish it on salads, but I infuse it in a lot of the oils that I use in my products because it is so healing. So it's one of the herbs I use in the repair salve. It's also in the jasmine and calendula body oil, which is very popular. If you deal with eczema, if you have acne, cuts, scrapes, it's just a great plant to use for any of these things. Another plant that I really love to use in my products is yarrow. If anyone likes to hike, you can see it all along the coast. It grows wild and it's native to this area. It has all these tiny clusters of white flowers on the top, but it's also very bitter if you smell it. And if you pick it fresh, you can actually put it on any cut that's bleeding and it will stop the bleeding, which is pretty amazing. So it's great for any type of like wound. It's antiseptic, so it's able to clean out cuts really well, and it's super healing. I actually just came out with a yarrow hydrosol, which I put all of the fresh plant in a copper still that I have, and through steam distillation, create flower water, which is the yarrow hydrosol, which you can spray on your face as a facial toner or just mist throughout the day. So yarrow is another one of the spicy plants that I use. And the last one is nettle, which I'm sure you have also seen growing along the coast. It tends to grow along the water or like streams. It's full of calcium. It has so many minerals in it. So I actually drink a lot of nettle tea because it's really tasty, but it's also just so good for your skin and your scalp. One of the products that I use nettle in is the hair serum. So you can leave it as like a mask overnight and it helps with like dry scalp, flakes, moisturizing your scalp. And yeah, nettle is something that grows, or I'm sure a lot of people have used it in cooking, but I use it mostly for the skin and internally. It's one of my favorite plants. And then trying to think how I can wrap this up, but sorry, I just kind of rambled. But yeah, if you want to talk more about my brand, at the end I'll be around, and I brought some products with me. And I also teach workshops pretty frequently. So just follow me on Instagram if you're ever curious about taking one. I love natural dyes, and just sharing what I know about plants with you all is something that I love to do. But without further ado, I want to welcome my friend Maria. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria. Thanks for coming. Danny's been asking me to speak here for a while, and I had said no quite a few times. But I finally acquiesced. And when he told me that this month's talk was spicy, I wasn't sure how I could tie that in with what I do. I mean, I've drawn peppers, sure, but and my personality can be spicy, and my husband could attest to that. But I started thinking more about like the poetic use of the term, like to spice things up, which means to keep things interesting, zesty, and fun. And that's something I know a lot about. I took it a step further, and I started thinking about the sensory experience of spice, which, as someone who's eaten an entire Thai chili inadvertently to the point of crying, I know that spicy can be something wildly uncomfortable and difficult to endure. So from there, I thought about, okay, when the pain subsides from the spiciness, there's a feeling of gratification and accomplishment. So taking creative license as an artist does, I arrived at another food-related metaphor, and I called this talk Peaches and Pits. So it's about how I got to be a working artist and how I keep things spicy along the way. So let's go to the slideshow here. This is me as a kid. You're going to learn a lot about me today, so you don't need to read this, but you can. So the peach isn't just an incredible muse. It's my metaphor of choice when thinking about my art practice and career. On the outside, the peach entices with its bright skin and luscious hue. It's the epitome of peak summer. Then there's the pit, the gnarly hard inside that is so often discarded. But the pit is actually all potential, the future of more peach. With a peach, the pit contains the renewal and potential of the thing, which pertains to my art practice in that it's not a story of overnight success or a big break or a string of viral moments where I made millions. It's the story of someone who grew a pretty sustainable art career over time by leading with delight. It was delight that led me to the farmer's market 15 years ago, where I was looking for ingredients and I ended up finding my muse, the subjects for the project that inspired my best known product, my Eat Local calendar. It's not just a calendar, though, you know, it keeps the date and serves a function. For me, it's taught me my role as an artist, how to make art as digestible as fruit and accessible as fruit, and has led me to my core of the things that matter to me most as an artist and as a person. So, here's some pictures of peaches, which I was supposed to bring in a little bit earlier, but there they are. Painted quite a few of them. So if you would have asked me 15 years ago if I thought that a calendar would be the thing that I was best known for, I probably would have said no. I was a fine art major at Santa Cruz, and a fine arts education gears you more towards like museums and galleries and that sort of thing. And yeah, I experimented with the human figure with oils, and my work grew more abstract and became explorations of color and form. I broke up the human figure like so. That's actually a person in there. And whoops. So, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Thanks. There's a lot of familiar faces here, which, you know, really helps. So, yeah, I was earning some recognition for my work at university, which made me think, like, yeah, maybe I could be an artist for a living. But the world of galleries and museums really didn't appeal to me. I felt like it took itself too seriously, and that was something I didn't want to do. So I ended up getting a job as a Montessori art teacher and kind of had to ponder how I could remain an artist as a grown-up. But it was the peak of the recession, so that kind of went on the back burner. Sorry. That was tough times. Oh my God. That was tough times. So I put cooking delicious meals for myself on the front burner. I have an Italian-American upbringing, I'm no stranger to good food, and I wanted to make that a big part of my life. So I started experimenting with cooking, and I made recipes from moosewood, chez panisse, and I devoured Alice Waters' biography, and I read classic Bay Area foodie titles like The Omnivore's Dilemma and Full Moon Feast, and I was super inspired by them. It just made sense to me. I wanted to live and eat with the seasons, which led me to my neighborhood farmer's market, where I would make my weekly pilgrimage. And I got really excited, and I wondered, when would the stalls of barren winter greens turn into the cornucopia of tomatoes and berries and all the fun stuff? Because when it did, I was really excited, like a kid at Christmas. So I took that childlike enthusiasm, and I made a humble one-page calendar of market highlights. Here's my kitchen from that time, which I drew. And you can see there's the little one-page calendar that I made. So that was fun for a while. And then eventually, I took my enthusiasm and made a 13-page calendar with a cover and all, because I wanted to spread the gospel of eating seasonal produce. So I started small, and I sold a few to some friends and coworkers for probably about as much money as it cost to print, maybe less, honestly. But I had a stroke of entrepreneurial genius. And with my childlike instincts, I decided to set up a lemonade-style stand across the street from my farmer's market, armed with nothing more than my seasonal produce calendar that I had called my Eat Local calendar. And I drew some business cards while I waited for people to come by. And I don't remember selling many, and maybe I sold none. But a woman by the name of Rachel Cole, who is my guardian angel, came to my stand, and she was so enthusiastic. And she was like, "What is this? I love this. And I work for Buy Right Market in San Francisco. Can we carry this?" And oh my goodness, was I excited. Okay, do you guys know what Buy Right Market is? It's kind of like, it's sort of like an Elroy's, but it's, I feel like Elroy's was inspired by Buy Right. They've been around for a really long time. They have all seasonal produce. Everything is ethically sourced. So this was a very exciting opportunity for me. So I landed my first wholesale account, and I got a taste of what it felt like to sell my work to the public. And it tasted good. I liked it. So this is the first calendar that I made, which I look back on it now and I'm like, wow, that wasn't like the best. It's cute. It's cute. It's charming. Charming. So got my first account, and then there's an actual picture of me from that time. One of my friends drew this. That stroke of luck emboldened me. I was in my early 20s, and I hit the pavement with my calendar, and with this blind optimism and boldness that I think maybe only a young person can harness. So I started taking my calendar to shops around the Bay Area, and I was having pretty good luck doing that. And not every single one took my calendar, and sometimes the rejection would ruin my day, but I didn't let it stop me because I had a lot of conviction. I was really excited because I found the place where I felt like my work belonged. And I really enjoyed just taking fruits and vegetables and making that my subject. So I had a lot of conviction, and I realized that the thing that resonated about making this kind of work was that you didn't have to go to a museum to see it. It was something that regular people could access and enjoy. And so that felt really, really right. And on a kind of deeper level, it's a kind of a lifestyle that I really believe in. I'm someone that makes a lot of my choices by being environmentally conscious. And, food can be, eating is a political act. We vote with our dollar when we decide who we're going to support and how we're going to participate in the food system. So it kind of contained that little seed for me too, which really resonated. So I, instead of painting people, I took what I knew about painting and I painted fruits and vegetables. Let's go to the next slide. Here's some marketplace to illustrate. I felt like the marketplace was the place for my work. This is actually Buy Right Market here. They have a lovely flower stand outside. So when you make your creative process, or you make your creative practice your full-time gig, a couple things happen. It can be really motivating, and you've resolved to make a living through this means, and I'm going to stop at nothing to make this happen. And sometimes it can rob the work of some of its magic. You have to do it all the time, and that can be tough too. So I've experienced both of those phenomenons, where it was motivating, and then also where it kind of could be boring. So I revisit the same project every year. Here's a couple different years. And as a wise friend once said, if you can't get out of it, get into it. So I originally was drawing my produce from photos, and not surprisingly to me now, that grew stale. So I took what I learned at university of painting a live thing, and I had this idea. Like, I feel so inspired when I go to the farmer's market. All of the colors and the textures, and, a conversation I had with a chef or someone I know. So I had the idea to take some of the farmer's market magic with me back to my studio, and I had found the spice. It made the process fun again, in a way that I really needed. I found salvation in a pink radicchio that got me excited to paint again. So this is the process. I go to the market, buy some things that excite me, and then find a nice way to display them. And then maybe this is me being a little egotistical, but like I kind of do what a chef does. When all the market has to offer is greens and mushrooms, you have to make them look enticing and bring out the flavors. So I try to do the same thing with my paintings. This is a chanterelle that I foraged, and like all of the gills and the colors that I found there just really delighted my senses. So yeah, I found the workaround. So yeah, here's a little bit more of the process, and then this is, what the calendar looks like today. Let's see. So also doing this type of process has invited a challenge into the work. So I have to paint a little gem lettuce before it wilts. So that kind of prompts me to work fast and is very motivating. And I've learned a lot of things from some fruits and vegetables. A cabbage has taught me that good things take time. A strawberry has infuriated me, urging me to take more note of light and shadow. So if I'm still growing and being challenged, then we're not done here. So I've been able to maintain this for 15, this 2025 will be my 15th calendar. And to be honest, like, who knows, there might come a point where I decide I need to move on from that project. And if I do, I feel like I'll have asked myself the right questions to come to that conclusion. So I was talking about the pressure of being a full-time creative. And one of the other things is that it forces you to kind of grow new skills, grow in other directions. And so, I made a line of other products that I sell. Whoops. Okay, so here's 2010, there's 2024. Can you see the progress? I've learned so much.
Both amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. That's so nice. So here's something I care a lot about. So I made a little poster of 20 ways to live more sustainably. Stationery items, prints, tea towels, other cards. And then here's another fun new calendar that I've made. But I've grown in other directions too. I've taken on a lot of client work. I kind of balance my income stream with client work and making products because I only want to make products if there's something that I'm really excited about. I don't need to follow a formula of like constantly producing stuff. Like, that's not what resonates with me. So yeah, I've taken on a range of different projects. And in the beginning, I didn't have the luxury of saying no much because girls got to eat. But the projects have ranged from wedding invitations, which I no longer do, but taught me the value of a good contract, and how to move on from a certain type of work when it's, you feel ready. I've done, here's some of my other products. I've done like a lot of artwork for small businesses And that, it remains a peach. I love that. It's really fun working with other small businesses and getting to make something for them. This is a storefront that I did in San Francisco. This is a kind of complex in Stinson Beach that's really cool called the Parkside. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. This is a logo I did for a diner in Oakland, some tissue paper. This is a label that I did for my husband who's here, his olive oil company. That's super fun. More kind of commission work. Okay, so this was fun. Kind of an unexpected project. I got asked to work on an Herbal Essences stop animation, which was actually really fun. I worked with a photographer and an animator, and I learned some things about stop animation, which was really cool. I didn't want to waste your time with the video, but if you want a link, I can send it. More recently, I did this line of designs for Sur La Table, which was a really great opportunity. I also learned that corporate clients don't always value the artist. Surprise, surprise. But it was still, a great opportunity. So when the client work dries up, or I long for something else, that's when it's time to self-start. And I look for inspiration in the world around me and what's exciting me and sparking joy. So during a time when I was driving north on Highway 1 from San Francisco to Marin County, I'm obsessed with wildflowers, and I found myself braking a lot to see like lupins, poppies. So I had this idea to make this bumper sticker, and in time I've sold thousands of them to like-minded people. And it's always really fun to see like what the other bumper stickers are on their car. Like visual botany is bitchin', that one's cool. And more recently, I had the idea to make the locals guide because, thanks. Yeah, I care about small business. Surprise, surprise. I am one. My husband has one, Other Brother Beer. And I felt like there was a great opportunity to kind of share that with, the community and tourists that come to town. It's so hard for them, I think, sometimes to find like what are the mom and pop interesting, enriching businesses. So I had this idea. I take a daily walk. And I hike regularly. And so I made a series of drawings out of some of my favorite plants, the buds along the path, I call them, my friends. And that's become one of my best-selling products too. So yeah, it's kind of funny to me because I feel like some people start a business like thinking, okay, what's this hole in the market, And I started my business the other way around. I was really passionate about something, and in time, I found other people that were excited about the same thing and responded really well to what I was offering. So the question has gone from how do I support myself as an artist to how do I keep the work and the life around it sustaining and fulfilling for me, not only as an artist, but as a person. So I started a communal co-working space in Oakland that hosted 7+ other artists, and it was a revolving door, and that lasted for 5 years, and that was really fun. This is a cheesy photo, but it would help me remember that that's something I wanted to talk about. And I've, found mentors, initiated collaborations. Being an artist can be lonely, it's a solitary act, and I'm an extrovert. So I had to find a way to scratch that itch of connecting with other people, because there was no way I was going to be able to do this if that wasn't a part of it. And I've really had moments where it was like soul crushing how lonely that journey could be. So these are kind of some of my workarounds. So I've done collaborations, hosted workshops, and markets. So these are some of the flyers for some markets. I've done art shows, solo ones, group ones. This is from one I did in San Francisco many moons ago, all landscape paintings. So yeah, I had to find a way to kind of, scratch other itches. I don't know why that's the term I keep using, but other cravings, to use the food-related metaphor, let's say. Workshops. Okay, so here we are at the end. The journey has been rich and textured. I've had to learn a lot of things my hard way, the hard way, my own way, without a guidebook. And there's been many highs and lows. There's been moments where I feel like it's too good to be true that I get to do this. And then there's moments of deep questioning and feeling aimless and lost. Health issues, crickets that last for months. Days and weeks where making art isn't even a part of it. And that's actually a good thing because it's really hard to be creative all the time. And doing this work is what's being asked of you. I've met some of the most important people of my life through it. And it's funny, you know, people say, wow, that's so cool that you get to be an artist. And I say, yeah, sometimes. But let's be real. It had to have been engaging and fulfilling enough to keep me in the game for 15 plus years. I've found the right balance of sweet like a peach, hard like a pit, and a little bit spicy. I don't know where the journey will take me next, but I know that I'll find a way to enjoy the juicy flesh and revel in the ever-enticing pit. And by the way, you can file this talk, writing and giving it under spicy, a challenge, an uncomfortable challenge that I was willing to endure. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you guys are gonna make me cry.
Yeah, keep it going. Absolutely.
That's so neat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to mix up your mic.
Spicy, you know, it brings you to tears.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Maria, for
yeah.
your love, your inspiration. You made me cry too.
Should I stay up here? Are we gonna do Q&A? Do we have time or no?
Yeah, we have a few minutes.
Do we
for
have a
Q&A.
few minutes?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for Q&A, here we go. If you have a question, you can
But if
raise
you don't,
your
that's
hand.
cool too. We can just go home.
Oh, I see one. Okay, what's your question?
Great talk.
Thank you.
What'd your parents say?
That is such a good question. My parents have always been really supportive, which I think has been helpful. I used to call my dad every week in the beginning because, you know, there's risk involved. I'm spending my money on putting these products out there. And when I was 25, I didn't have a lot of that money. So it was scary. So yeah, a lot of checking in, like, Dad, is this the right thing to do? Am I really gonna print 500 of these things? Am I gonna sell them? So yeah, having supportive parents definitely helped. Yeah.
That's a great question. Okay, I saw this man in the back. Hello, sir. What's your question?
Hey, Maria. Love seeing the evolution of your work, but I was just curious. You know, you were up in the city and you know, had that phase of your life in artistry, and then moving down here, a different cadence.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering how that, if in any way, kind of your creativity was impacted or affected just by the change of location and cadence and so forth.
That's a great question. I think because I'm so inspired by nature, it's been helpful to be down here. And, you know, there's such a cool small knit community of people here that are so supportive, and like a lot of work that I'm getting now is coming from local people. So I think it's been, I haven't really noticed a difference in cadence. It's, yeah, but, so yeah.
Same, but different.
Yeah, kind of. In a way, it's almost more supportive here because in the Bay Area, there's so many people trying to kind of do what you're trying to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. That was actually something I was going to talk about, but I forgot. Just that, like, you know, there's the self-doubt component. And like you see other people doing what you want to be doing, and it's really easy to kind of compare. But you can't give in to that, you know, and like make friends with those people. Like you'll be better for it. And like we have a lot to teach each other. So yeah.
I do see a question right here from Gary.
Two-part question.
Yeah.
First part,
Yeah.
your path of life has brought you to here. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about the best part that's happened to you on your path? And then I have part two of the question.
On my entire path.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna go for the cheesy one.
All right.
I met my husband through this work.
There you are.
He asked me to do a project for him, and we had a meeting, and like I felt like it was a date. So I was like, I think I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and ask this guy out.
That's a good, great answer.
Okay, thank you.
Now, second part.
Yeah.
Okay. Tough path to
Yep.
get you to where you were. The worst thing that happened to you on this path.
Honestly, I think it's been like more of like the physical component. Like I've struggled with insomnia, or like, you know, like I have scoliosis. So sometimes like looking down and getting migraines, like that's challenging, and that's just real life. But hard, you know, I mean, I think that there's just points. That's what I was trying to communicate, is like there's all these points where you're like, how am I gonna work with this? And it's like those are the moments where you have to like find the workarounds, and they become that juicy peach.
You persevered and you got through it.
I got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Oh, another question. Okay.
Well, Maria, I want to say that your enthusiasm is really infectious. So thank you.
Thanks.
This is not a two-part question. This is two questions.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one's simple. Are you vegetarian or vegan?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm what you might call flexitarian.
Flexitarian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you invited me over for a meat that I don't normally eat, I would eat it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this brings me to my second one,
Yeah.
which is, have you ever thought about exploring markets globally? And because they're so different, I've traveled a lot,
Yeah.
lived abroad, and they're fascinating.
Oh, totally.
So I don't know if that's in your repertoire of thinking or whatever.
I mean, that would be cool. I'm open to it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
All right.
Hi there. I wanted to just say I was a huge fan of the map that you made.
Oh,
I feel like
thanks.
you were totally spot on.
Yeah.
But I found myself wondering, has it ended up being, have people said like, why didn't you put me on it? Like, was the whole process of deciding who's on it, was that a hard one? And you certainly had to leave people out and put people in. And
Yeah.
curious to hear about that.
That's a really good question. I think I wanted it to be like authentic recommendations, like places I actually have a connection to. And I think a lot of people have reached out, and it's given me opportunities to learn about new businesses. And I'm open, and like some of these businesses have unfortunately closed. So I think it's going to be like an evolution, and there's other opportunities to, include new ones and just generally be more inclusive with it, hopefully. Yeah.
It's a great question. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you, Cassie. Where are you going?
Oh. Thought I was done.
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you to Maria. That was extraordinary and absolutely worth the wait. And it was clear just how much you put into it, and so you kind of made it look easy. I think to us, it felt like so, poetic and natural and beautiful. So thank you so much
Thanks,
again.
Danny.
Yeah. Some people know this, but when I started this new company that I've been working on since the fall, one of the first people I reached out to was Maria, and I said to her, like, we really want you to design the brand. And then we met Grace, and one of the things I kept saying to her is, I really want people to know that this is a Maria thing, and that would mean so much. So again, like every single day when we're building this company, I see them, I see Maria and Grace, and so again, thank you for everything you're doing for the community.
Our next Creative Mornings is going to be May 17th. So mark your calendars, but don't worry, if you registered, which we now all have your emails, you'll be getting a newsletter from me shortly next week. So I'll be there to remind you. Thank you again so much for coming out today. Have a great rest of your morning.